We start now for session 3. Title is Education and Training. The moderator is Mr. Konstantinos Triantafylou, Head of Maritime Affairs and Stakeholder Development of Helmepa. Mr. Triantafylou, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I would allow me to thank the organizers of the Green Shipping Summit, Newsfront Navtiliaki, Ms. Vaslaki and her team for this honoring invitation to moderate this panel, and having been an attendee for many years of these forums, besides the wealth of technical knowledge, which I admire as an environmental scientist, all the technical engineering knowledge. At the same time, it seems that the Greener Shipping Summit has created a very warm community feeling as well, and it's always a pleasure to attend here. Also, I would like to mention that, in the current circumstances worldwide, it's quite often difficult to discuss issues about training, about emissions, and other things when we have, such human and other catastrophe in our neighborhood, in the East Mediterranean and further. But at the same time, as an environmentalist, I have learned that life continues, life evolves, and, adapting to new circumstances and conditions is a very big strength and a huge quality especially for young people who are entering the industry. And as I know we have a lot of students with us today, it's something that it's required by the industry adaptability. Going into today's session, before I introduce our panel, I would just like to give some key points as a beginning, food for discussion for the panel. First of all, that the triple transition in shipping is real and is simultaneous. So the industry is actually navigating today decarbonization, digitalization, and demographic change, which is a serious challenge for the shipping industry. Any of these challenges alone is immense to address. When all these are taking place together, it actually it fundamentally reshapes what a maritime professional for tomorrow's industry is going to be required to have. So whether on board and ashore. The pipeline is under pressure, which means that engineers, officers, and office staff of shipping companies will operate tomorrow's fleet. They're being trained today on curricula that were designed for yesterday's ships, under certification schemes that move slower than technology, and in institutions that often lack infrastructure which offers their students the ability to be trained for the conditions they're going to be operating in future vessels. And finally, but not least, another very important aspect is that crew fatigue and stress is the new norm on ships for existing crews. All recent surveys and studies show that there is a huge pressure on the crews. In a recent survey that Helmepa has released under the Metavasi project, 70% of 2,500 seafarers who participated worldwide cite crew fatigue from new duties stemming from new regulations is their number one safety concern, and it's creating stressful situations, and it's a huge problem, and for themselves, and of course for the shipping companies who have to deal with that. So, saying that, when conditions such as the ones we're facing down in the Gulf or in pandemics such as COVID-19 come on top of that, makes the situation much more difficult, and this is something that the industry has to address. So these are, certain observations and gaps that our panel is in a position to address, and we're very lucky to have with us a set of distinguished panelists, which I will briefly present. Mr. George Dimopoulos, Associate Professor at the School of Naval Architecture, Division of Marine Engineering, National Technical University of Athens. Mr. Dimitris Fokas is the Training Manager of Angelikousis Shipping Group. Mr. Charalambos Giaginthos is the Director of School of Engineers at the Merchant Marine Academy of Aspropyrgos. Slip of tongue, Macedonia, a bit north of Aspropyrgos. And Thodoris Galanis is Group IT Manager of Latsko Marine Management. So we've got a nice spread of academics, of trainers, and of industry experts. I will start the first round of questions with about a gap which is not only prominent in shipping, but in other industries as well, and it is the oldest tension in professional education. The gap between what is being taught in academies and in universities and what actually the shipping companies and industry stakeholders need in today's industry. And I will pose the first question to Mr. Dimopoulos. Whether universities can generally bridge the gap between frontier research, whether fuel optimization, engineering, etc., decarbonization, and the practical knowledge that the students will need when they enter the industry.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to say I'm glad to be here, and I would like to thank Newsfront Naftaliyaki for the kind invitation. Well, the short answer is yes, up to a point. There is a point, there is a limit on what the universities, I'm just going to talk about technical education in the National Technical University, to be precise. We can go up to a point. The needs are evolving. The reality that our young engineers will face out there is far more complex and far more fragmented than what we are able to offer in a curriculum. And this is a process that starts at the university, starts at the formal education, and has and must continue during the professional life, meaning education is ongoing. We cannot never skip it. Research and new topics, fortunately for us that we're doing research, is much more closer to the application, to the reality than it used to be. We discuss about technologies that are still at the drawing board, and we need to make informed decisions about it. This is a challenge for the industry, this is a challenge for research, and we are trying to adapt. More and more, we are trying to bring our research results closer to our curriculum, exposing our students to new ideas. The question is this sufficient? Is this enough? And in fact, Mr. Triantafylou said it already. Yesterday's curriculum teaching something about today's technology, but the technology of tomorrow will be different. And how do we address that? How do we cure that? My answer is we have to go two ways. One is to start focusing more on the basics, focusing on first principles, on the core theory that will allow our young graduates to think, to decompose problems, and to provide answers based on fundamentals, based on a sound reasoning. The second is to introduce him to new technologies, to new things, but these new technologies might be irrelevant in a couple of years. This is true. But introducing students, introducing ourselves on how to address new technologies plays also another role. It forms an example on how to address something we don't know anything about it, at least at the beginning, where the uncertainty is quite higher than what we are used to. So we're using research as an example as well, as an example in order to train and to adapt the thought process. For instance, we're doing research for hydrogen carriers, for many alternative energy and fuels and technologies. It's not important the fact that we focus on wind sails or hydrogen as a fuel. The important part is what are the uncertainties, what are the unknown parts that we need to address in order to be able to say something about this. That is the process that, at the end of the day, will stick to our graduates. And to conclude on that, it's an ongoing process. It's a struggle how to do it best. But at the end of the day, our graduates will have to be able to work on first principles, to be inquisitive, to be able to perform research even in their day-to-day job. And as I said, this is a process that needs to continue. Despite if any young students here think that studying will automatically finish when they get the degree, the case might be a little bit different. The true study might start once they get the degree.
Thank you very much. And moving from universities to the Merchant Marine Academies, I would like to pose the next question to Mr. Yakinthos. The Merchant Marine Academy does sit at the entry point of the seafaring profession. So in today's environment, in today's reality, how aligned are the curriculum of the Merchant Marine Academies in preparing for the green and digital transition, the seafarers of tomorrow?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank for the invitation and thank the foundation, the Viennese Foundation for the hospitality. And I would like to say that the alignment between the current maritime education and the demands of the green and digital transition is a critical challenge, as international STCW standards often lag years behind the actual adoption of technology. As discussed a couple of years ago in a previous conference right here in this building, while the new STC standards are currently under deliberation, it will take a considerable time for them to be officially adopted and even longer to be integrated into the Maritime Academy's curricula. To bridge this gap, academies should be empowered to conduct research projects. This would allow students to actively participate in the development of new knowledge, ensuring they are shaped by cutting-edge industries, trends, rather than waiting for outdated regulations to catch up. Technological shifts, such as alternative fuels, ammonia, hydrogen, maritime cybersecurity, autonomous vessels, evolve much faster than international legislation. The future of shipping requires officers who are more than just operators. They must be problem solvers. Research involvement teaches students how to analyze data and find solutions to non-standardized problems. This builds adaptability, a crucial soft skill. Research programs can be conducted in partnership with shipping companies or tech providers. Academies transform from isolated schools into innovation hubs. Students can gain exposure to real-world operational challenges before they even graduate. To make this a reality, a shift in mindset and institutional structure is required. It needs funding, laboratory access, and most important, incentives for both faculty and students. So if we want also this to face the possibilities for the faculty members to change, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, we could discuss about an exchange program between faculty and operational, and to see operational realities. Faculty could spend designated periods, such as a tech sabbatical, let's say, within the operational performance departments of shipping firms. And of course, this has the other side of the coin also. The model could also encourage inviting superintendent engineers as guest lecturers to share real-world data and war stories, let's say, of smart fleet. And as a matter of speaking, before starting this conversation, with Mr. Galante, we have a talk, and I just have invited him to come to AEN Macedonia to speak about cybersecurity, because it's a matter that is coming up more and more often now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and it is a fact that, you know, in the Merchant Marine Academy of Mechaniona, you're doing great work, and
Thank you.
I think, you know, you deserve all the support you can get from, you know, the state and the industry as well, and the results, you know, speak for themselves. So moving, you know, from academia and from training institutions to the industry, Dimitris, something more specific to the Greek context. In maritime training in Greece, is maritime training in Greece generally connected to academia? I mean, what is, you know, you've got vast experience on the topic for many years. What do you see is actually working at the Angelikoussis Group, you know, one of the biggest groups, shipping groups in Greece, and where do you think that, you know, there is still a gap and things are missing?
Καλησπέρα. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you, Kostas. Back to your basic question, is there a gap, and what do we do with the gap between what is taught and what applies on the ships? This gap has always been there and will always be. And I'm positive, because till now shipping has proved that it can deal with all these changes over the last years, and I'm talking about technological changes, new equipment installed on board, starting from ECTIS, scrubbers, ballast treatments, whatever, anything, alternative fuels, whatever comes up, the shipping industry is able to deal with that and can face all those challenges. And we have managed that, not only in our group, but shipping in Greece in general. So I'm positive. Now, going back to what is missing and what we can do more. In our company, we have an in-house training center. We deliver company-specific courses over and above the minimum requirements. We have done that for over 20 years. So this is a good practice that other companies have started applying in Greece and elsewhere as well. And a second important thing is that we need to teach everybody that, as Mr. Dimopoulos said, and this is an ongoing process. And we hate listening that young officers will learn things on board. We try to convince them that this is part of what they should do on board. They should be able to read, develop their critical thinking in their future in order to have a career at sea and ashore as well. So this is an ongoing process. They should be able to adapt and learn forever. So those two things are very important, and we try to use them in our everyday life. Thank you, Kostas.
Thank you, Dimitris. And that moves us, I think, very well onto the next topic of the panel, which has got to do with the green officer, the competencies, the standards, and the infrastructure. I mean, the industry has been talking about the green officer, the environmental officer for many years. And I remember in some of my first years in shipping, which I was involved in one of the first videos then of Videocell, the environmental officer, and I was thinking, wow, you know, the industry is moving forward, the environmental officer is soon going to be on board a ship. You know, a few years later, I realized what the reality actually is. Now even more so with MARPOL Annex 6 and all the emission regulations, there seems to be this need for considerable knowledge on green subjects or for merchant marine officers. So I think I would like to turn once again to you, Dimitris, as you have, experience on environmental issues and from both the state institutions at IMO, EMSA, and the industry now. Is there an agreed competency framework behind the Green Officer, and how is your group approaching this issue? The competences, the green competences within your officers.
Thank you. Yes, the Green Officer is something bigger because everybody on board should be aware of the environmental regulations and follow them. So it's not that someone has the title of a Green Officer. This applies to everyone. And there have been training programs all over the world in order to improve this awareness of seafarers for the environmental issues. And I think we have been successful in that based on the results that we see. Now going to the future and the alternative fuels, our group was one of the first to have dual fuel vessels, tankers and bunkers, using LNG as fuel as well. We have started already 4 years ago. And there again, we have been successful because we developed our training program, our training material. We got the approvals required by state, and we can deliver, and we have trained over 200 officers for the LNG as fuel. So there we have been successful. About other alternative fuels, we don't have any experience because we don't have or use any of the other fuels, ammonia or whatever. We don't have any experience there, so I don't know. But as I said before, we are positive. If there is a need, we will be able to deliver again any of those courses. On that, just a last point, there are a lot of initiatives going on about the alternative fuels and training of seafarers for that. Actually, today in Brussels, there is, it's called European Maritime Skills Forum. This takes place today in Brussels. They deliver, they have done some questionnaires and they deliver some proposals about the future training for other fuels than LNG. So a lot of things going on, and we wait to see the results. Thanks.
Thank you, Dimitris. Yeah, also, it was in the last STW subcommittee at IMO a couple of weeks ago that they discussed the first framework for training framework for methanol, ammonia, and hydrogen. But as you say, theoretically preparing training is one thing. If you haven't got an amplitude of vessels already using these fuels, it's difficult to train in practice. So this is something that is ongoing. But I would like to ask Mr. Yakinthos, how can we actually, effectively integrate the teaching of alternative fuels or transitional fuels such as LNG and methanol, which are more common, and the use of new emission reduction technologies, which is something which is a win-win situation for the industry, apart from the fuels, into the maritime training curriculum when, the STCW and the other frameworks are lengthy and their revision does actually take a very long while.
Yes. In order to effectively integrate alternative fuels and green technologies, despite the gap that you mentioned, maritime academies must shift towards a proactive, future-proofing educational strategy. Based on the strategic models proposed for institutions like in Macedonia, here is how the gap can be closed. First of all, instead of waiting for the national law to change, academies can implement innovation modules alongside the standard curriculum. This can be done with organizations like the Center of Research of Technology, CERT, or engine manufacturers allows for the teaching of cutting-edge tech. Students can also gain hands-on experience with the IGF code and decarbonization strategies through actual engineering applications long before they become mandatory to STCW modules. Since physical engines are for ammonia or hydrogen may not yet be available in every lab, digital versions provide the solution. Engineering students can use digital models of methanol or ammonia engines to learn chemical handling and safety protocols ahead of industry-wide adaptation. Modern systems could allow students to operate methanol supply systems and electronic camless dual-fuel engines, diesel, LNG, methanol in a controlled environment. And we could use also the VR, the virtual reality, to explore the engine rooms of various ship types, from LNG to VLCCs, maintaining a physical feel for new layouts. The curriculum must evolve to balance traditional seafaring with high-tech management. Students should be taught that while AI optimizes the combustion cycle, they still have to master the mechanical integrity of fuel injectors. Rebranding the marine engineer as a green tech manager or system architect shifts to focus to managing complex automated energy efficiency systems. Closing the gap requires a constant flow of formation between the fleet and the classroom. Faculty members should participate in mandatory placements and inviting superintendent engineers discuss changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to also ask Professor Dimopoulos, from the perspective of National Technical University of Athens, when we talk about green shipbuilding, what does that demand from the engineers and researchers you're training and producing, and how much is this research informing, the curriculum that, or are they still running, at parallel track?
Yeah, well, this is a challenge. We are facing changes. We are facing actually multiple directions that in terms of research, we need to explore most of them at once because there is no dominant technology or fuel nowadays. And in fact, the most, let's say, safe bet is that between ship segments and trades, the future will be segmented. Different fuels will coexist along with different technologies. So this is a real challenge in order to incorporate all this into a first degree course. 5 years, still first degree. So as I said, the key is to introduce as much of our research activities, because NTUA is not only a teaching university, it's predominantly a research institution, right? And the key is to inform our curriculum based on this research. And I talked a little bit about it in my previous, let's say, answer. However, the real challenge here and the big bet is to be close to the Greek shipping community and understand better the needs and to identify potential tracks that will guide our research activities as well. This is an ongoing process. Typically, universities worked in the past, and if we are going to be frank, we have to admit it, work in silos. The scientists, the university, people doing high-level research. This is not the case. At least this is not my case and my colleagues' case. So cooperation, this is something we try to foster, we try to bring the community together with us in order to be able to stay relevant in our research. And that will make our graduates relevant. As an example, we have just kickstarted a new postgraduate program on ship performance engineering. This has been done answering to a big need of the industry and in cooperation with the industry in order to design it. Because ship performance is one of the key elements even in order to apply new technologies. Another example is that we have introduced a series of lectures where people, highly successful people from the industry, come and give a 2-hour lecture each, 24 in total, about a subject. What is the technical department? What is the bulk array segment? And we are really lucky to have excellent colleagues, Mr. Hadjigeorgiou, for instance, talking about the bulk array segment. Having a person that knows, deeply knows, a subject, even if they only talk for 2 hours, it's a big boost in having our students gaining from that experience, understanding the lingo, understanding what are the important parts that probably they don't listen during the studies. I repeat, it is a challenge. The technologies are shifting, so we need to train our people for the methodologies and the problem-solving ability that they need to have in their everyday life, instead of focusing in to make them experts in one set of technologies.
Thank you very much. Discussing about the green competences needed in the industry today. Equally, if we talk about a green officer, with all of the pace of digitalization taking place, we might, or we already are discussing, the need for probably a digital officer on board. How is the industry addressing this issue? Has it got to do with general digital awareness, across all levels of seafarers and the shipping companies, or is this something where you will be needing a certain expertise, a specific expertise on board? And I'm going to ask Mr. Thodoros Galanis, as this is his subject area.
Thank you, Kostas. Thanks the organizers for giving us the opportunity to speak here. Correct, the pace of digitalization, the sophistication of the systems that we have now on board is moving very fast during the last few years, highly disrupting the maritime industry. It's a completely different situation what we used to have a few years ago. And if we look back, the concept of green officer emerged because of the environmental compliance that became very complex, measurable, critical to operation and to bottom line. Today we have a very similar situation, or started to get the same situation with digitalization as well. Modern vessels are no longer isolated assets that had technology that was not up to date or not the most sophisticated technology. They are becoming connected. We have cloud as well. We have data-driven environments in vessels. On board, we have integrated navigation and engine systems, remote monitoring and diagnostics. We have connectivity on shore, continuous, and we have increasingly strict cybersecurity requirements. So this creates a landscape and a layer of operational complexity that didn't exist a few years ago, 10, 15 years ago, something quite different. So the question is not whether we need a digital officer or you name it how, but we need to start getting prepared for the new environment that is starting to appearing or has appeared in our neighborhood here. Who owns? We have to clearly define who owns digital systems, who is responsible for the cybersecurity hygiene, who is driving digital transformation in the organization, who ensures that the data and the systems are being used correctly and safely, securely. Today, the responsibility usually is from fragmenting among different roles, different departments, different teams. Some are with a master, some other with a chief engineer, some with a IT department on shore or with other departments. This can work, but as the complexity increases, the gap and the risk also increase. So we have to create digital ambassadors, as I may have, the liberty to call them. So to make sure that the crew is more digitally enabled, is, as Mr. Dimopoulos said, that they are able to adapt any technology, to be able to adapt to a certain extent or to whatever is feasible, different technologies, not tied to specific technologies, to be the ambassadors of that, to be empowered and capable of using these technologies appropriately and safely, with digital responsibility embedded across different roles. But of course, we have to clearly define as well who does what and how the crew members will be supported in case they need it or whenever they need it, because they shouldn't be left alone. Digital is no longer, something distant, something that is not part of our business. It is it's something very critical. It's core part of the safety and the efficiency of the vessel's operations. So training is really important. It's not one-shot training, one-off training. We, bringing all to the context of the sessions that we have here, we need to build the digital competencies, the digital literacy of our organization, of our people, not only with the usage of the systems, but also, as we said, how to build the soft skills that will make them better use the technologies and apply the new technologies that will be coming, that may be more complex, more demanding. And of course, it's very important also to be aware of cybersecurity, the threats that are becoming more sophisticated and are threatening, considering also the geopolitics that are happening now across the world.
Yeah, I think, also with, as you mentioned, with all the digital awareness that is necessary on board now, with the new generations of seafarers coming through, these generations are more digitally literate, let's say, so we've also got a kind of mentoring going both ways now as well, from the younger people who have got a better level of digital awareness and skills to the older seafarers.
Of course, there is a nice blend there, a nice mix, where the new ones, the younger ones, the younger professionals are more eager to use technologies and are finding, easier the application of these technologies, and are supporting, are helping the more experienced ones in the application of the technology, the users of the technology, and on the other hand, the experienced ones are supporting the younger ones with the experience that they have gotten so far, and the soft skills that are not that mature in the younger employees, the younger crew members.
Just to take it a step further, you mentioned also training for digital on digitalization. How do you see artificial intelligence, AI, transforming training for seafarers, and for onshore staff as well over the coming years? I mean, can this make a difference in terms of better preparation?
Thank you. Yes, from my perspective, yes, AI is a tool, is a very powerful tool that has the potential to fundamentally reshape both the training for both the seafarers and the offshore staff, mainly by making the training more continuous, personalized, and effective, which is the essence of the training. Traditionally, we used to have more periodic training sessions, like static training courses, certification, refreshers. The training material was taking, or is taking, a lot of time to get it prepared. It is a generic training material that doesn't tackle all the needs, the individual needs of the participants. And usually the effectiveness of the training is not meeting the expectation of the organizer or the sponsors. So with the AI, we have the opportunity to move more to continuous learning environments, because AI is an enabler for the training, can be an enabler for the training activities. For example, with AI, we can create training materials based on real-world cases from past experience. We can easily create videos, presentations, translate topics that otherwise would have been very difficult, and the effectiveness, the efficiency of that is quite good. We can have personalized career learning paths that are adapted based on the individual's experience level. We can have real-time, we can even have real-time assistants, digital assistants on board for the crew to access procedures or troubleshoot issues. And we can even capture knowledge from the more experienced seafarers and create an accessible digital library for the young ones. And this is quite important when we want to bridge the gap between the experienced ones and the younger generation, get the younger generation more prepared and better equipped to address the issues and the topics that they will have to address in their daily activities. And this is the essence of the evolutions. That's how mankind also evolved, having the next generation more prepared and better equipped from the previous ones. If I'm allowed to say, we can say that AI can democratize also experience because it will allow expertise to be available when and where it is needed immediately. Of course, we are not trying to replace the human judgment. We are not trying to replace the human factor. The human factors will always be there. The critical thinking will be always there, will be always necessary. But what we can take advantage by using AI is to augment the human factor, to accelerate the training, increase the effectiveness, and improve the decision-making effectiveness.
Yep. Thank you very much, Theodoris. Dimitri, we've had virtual and cloud-based training now we've got experience from quite a few years, and it's passed through to the companies. It helps in certain cases, but how do you see, can digital delivery generally replace the more traditional methods, or is it still necessary to have that hands-on practice on board?
Yes, thank you. I can't fully agree with what Mr. Galanis said. I mean, maybe this is the future, this is what is coming. But let's go today. Today, how we see the use of AI by students? Copy-paste. It's as simple as that. I'm training manager. We try to train people how to use machines, how to use equipment, right? We want to develop the soft skills of our officers and our staff. We want to develop their critical thinking, their analytical skills, how to best use machines. This is what we try to do. And for me, what I see today, till now, with the use of AI, is totally different from what Mr. Galanis presented. Because we see, in reality, a bad use of what AI can offer. Right? So it's difficult to say how this will improve training. So if we go down again to what is happening today, and you referred to cloud simulator, remote training, etc., yes, during COVID, all those things have developed a lot, have improved a lot. We have a lot of opportunities out there to use all these technologies. Mr. Iakinthos has just showed me a note from the ministry exploring the cloud options, so everybody's working in that direction. We have used cloud options for the last 5 years. We know what is available out there. We encourage that path because it can offer a lot of benefits. But again, we are missing something. We don't have a standard for the use of those remote or cloud simulators or options. So it's up to the company to decide which way to go. There are cheap solutions, there are good solutions, everything is available out there. So you need to dig more before deciding which way and which solution to choose, because everything is out there and you need to be careful. And we are careful. We select the training that is the remote training or the cloud options that are out there. We try to be on the safe side and try also to find the balance between what you said as remote training and classrooms. So we are not there at that point that where remote or e-learning or whatever can replace the classroom. We just need to find now the balance between these two sides of training. and we are using both sides. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question on that. I mean, is this balance decided upon knowledge and experience, or have you actually done certain assessment, for example, of the impact of virtual digital training compared to on board, and then you've come to a certain ratio?
Yes, no, we have tried everything that's available out there, including cloud, e-learning, etc. We have tried everything, and we develop our own material. For example, VR, that was mentioned before, we are the first one to develop a VR training program for LNG bunkering, because this does not exist. So in some areas, we feel we are pioneers because we try to explore everything that's out there. So our decisions are based on checking what is available, trying new things, but also focusing on the effectiveness of training. So I don't have a yes or no to your question, but it's a process, it's an ongoing process, things change, and we try to be there.
Thank you very much. We can move, I think, on to cybersecurity in this section, which is a huge issue. Delegation of Helmepa was a couple of weeks back in Washington with the Coast Guard leadership, and they pointed out very strongly that they do expect, during their inspections in U.S. ports, a basic level of awareness, digital awareness amongst all levels of the crew, and they do inspect on this according to the guidelines that have been provided. So there is the industry treating this as a compliance burden, do you think, more, or as a genuine opportunity to build resilience and protect, the crews, the vessel, the cargo, and the environment?
Thank you, Costa. Thank you. I think we are at a turning point. It's true that historically cybersecurity was treated more like a compliance requirement, driven more from regulation demands and perceived more as an expense rather than to investment or something that is more to become a priority, let's say. However, now the increasing connectivity on board on the vessels, the vessels are very close to the shore now, to the outside world. The systems have advanced significantly. We have new technologies, or we're getting new technologies, and the threats are getting quite sophisticated. So the old way that we used to work is not longer sufficient. Cybersecurity is now directly linked to operational resilience and to safety, and that's how the modern organizations should be perceiving cybersecurity. Regulations such as the ones that you mentioned, Costa, are really important and create the minimum common baseline, some best practices potentially, or in other cases they may push the industry forward or to a specific direction. But being compliant doesn't always mean that you are safe, that you are more safe, more secure. One needs one needs continuous vigilance, risk-based approaches, building a comprehensive cybersecurity resilience, how the ability to detect, to respond, and to recover from any potential cybersecurity incident. We have to balance, the technological force, the evolution, the technological force that drive us to forward. Especially now that the technological disruption the disruption that the new technologies are bringing to the industry are quite important, and these technological advantages are having strong impact on the efficiency and on the effectiveness of our operations, and we have to balance how we are applying the technologies, the new technologies, in order to have the required result. I'm going to broaden a bit the response in order to respond to Dimitris as well, both in terms of what we are doing in the operations, but also for cybersecurity. The same topic here. Should we stop the AI or the technological evolution or the adoption of the technological evolutions within our ecosystem? that will mean that we are secure because we won't have, we won't adopt the new technologies, or we will stay with what exists up until now, and we'll have less things to protect. It will be like shutting down or reducing the amount of digital footprint that we are using, or shutting down computer systems, this kind of stuff. But in the end, we won't be able to work, and we won't be able to deliver the expected results. So every new technology have to, the same with AI, the same with AI in training, but the same, the new technologies overall need to be blended correctly, appropriately integrated with what the organization wants, what each organization wants to achieve. And now in this topic with cybersecurity, we have to blend the every new connection, every new system, every new technology together with the organization, with the requirements, with the processes, with what is the risk that we want to address in order to have an integrated approach. And for sure, we need to make sure that we pay extra attention to the human element. It's a shared responsibility, the cybersecurity. It's not something that one team, one person, somebody is responsible for that. Everybody is responsible. Everybody needs to understand the risks, follow the procedures, and act as they are in the first line of defense. And just like safety, it depends, the safety depends, and the cybersecurity safety depends strongly on both the systems and the people working together.
Thank you, Theodoris, and for covering the previous question as well. So actually, we've talked about systems, standards, and frameworks. Addressed decarbonization and the skills that are necessary for that, and digitalization. So for the next 5 to 10 minutes, I think it would be nice to close with the human factor, which is at the center of all this, with a question that is both practical and urgent. All studies show that there is a huge gap there that has to be addressed in terms of new crews, not only crews on board ships, but also expertise in the shipping companies, shipping expertise and technical knowledge, practical technical knowledge. How do we actually ensure that the next generation is attracted and does want to join the industry? Because we've had various fora, it's discussed, and there is a difficulty in attracting and convincing young people to enter the shipping industry, whether it's for crews, but not only, also for shipping at large. And I would like to start with Mr. Yakinthos. This is a direct challenge. How do we restore the attractiveness of the industry to the young generation?
Yes, thank you. First of all, a quick answer to Dimitris. In order to protect academic integrity and ensure the competence in the age of AI, assessments must move away from written papers. That's for sure. So we have to put grades on the students on live performance and diagnostic accuracy during, for example, a simulated boiler malfunction or a bunkering procedure, not written exams anymore. Anyhow, what you have asked me, well, we can all agree that one undeniable fact is that increasing salaries for officers is no longer the primary driver for younger generations. Despite the financial incentives, we are not seeing a surge in applications. Instead, we are witnessing a worrying stagnation. But there is more silent demographic threat looming. You said it in the beginning. In September 2025, the Minister of Education noted a staggering decline in primary school enrollments, roughly 30,000 fewer children over the last 15 years. The demographic cliff will hit our doorstep in 12 years, approximately. Today, from a pool of 65 of high school seniors, we received 2,800 expressions of interest, resulting in 1,300 admissions for captain engineers. In 12 years, if we stand idle, these numbers will be halved. To restore the attractiveness of the maritime profession, we must shift our narrative more. We need to stop framing the role as a traditional labor job and start pitching it as a higher career in environmental technology and system engineering. We must move away from the greasy bilge stereotype and showcase the high-tech reality of modern bridge and engine room. A career at sea now involves managing autonomous vessels and carbon-neutral fuel systems like methanol and hydrogen, and we're training environmental leaders, not just mariners. Through VR labs and simulators, of course, we must show Gen Z that a modern engine room is closer to high-tech power plant than a traditional mechanical space. Utilizing AI-driven predictive maintenance and remote monitoring aligns this profession with elite engineering fields like aerospace. Also, we have to put there a research factor. For example, Air Macedonia have already established 2 research teams, NINEMIA and ISALOS, where students build actual prototypes. They work on autonomous vessels, AI integration, solar energy. They operate 3D printers, CNC machines, use ArduPilot software, the very same software technology seen in modern drone navigation globally, used in the war in Ukraine and Iran. Through these projects, we achieved 2 goals. We bridge the soft skills gap that is currently missing from the standard curriculum, and we prove to our students that they can compete with any university student, that they are just as capable and worthy. We are grateful to the companies already sponsoring these efforts, and they are investing to the right place. Thank you very much. Trying to be as fast as I can.
Thank you. No, that's fine. That's fine. And I would like to move to Professor Dimopoulos as well. What are actually the skills and the mindset that needs to be cultivated in the next generation of maritime engineers operating, in a world with AI, new technologies, new fuels, etc. And what would the ideal NTUA graduate of 2035 look like?
Yeah, well, hard to answer. But before go to that, I have to share with you that I have the opposite experience regarding shortage of applicants, at least what involves the National Technical University. The bar, the lowest grade to get in, IVAS, goes higher and higher, and the statistic shows that despite the fact that there are other engineering schools like electrical or mechanical engineering with even higher scores to get in, for 1/3 of our 90 entrants per year, now they make it as a first choice. So it is appealing, and a lot of people want to get in. Having said that, it doesn't necessarily mean that all people that will get in will well suited at the end of the day for this peculiar sector of the industry, which is shipping. It can give you a very worthy and adventurous lifetime, but it's not suited for all. You need to be inspired by that in order to give your whole self. It requires an active participation and commitment, and truth be told, I don't know if our Gen Zers will rebel on that, hard work. It requires a lot of hard work in order to get out and to remain relevant. So the ideal graduate of 10 years after, passionate, very important, to really wanting to get out there and do something in shipping. And I see it in our students. I see it a lot. In terms of the more harder skills, despite the fact that we are naval architecture and marine engineering, electrical and electronics engineering, chemical engineering are now an integral part that should our people have a good grasp on, and we're trying to do that. Coding. If I was on the other side and I was at the other side, I wouldn't hire anybody without any coding skills right now. And to touch upon, because everybody else did, on the AI, use and not be used by AI. I understand there are challenges. We see it, and I fully agree on it. It's a challenge now how to test people either in written exams or in semester projects when AI is there. But it is also a matter of personal responsibility because AI is doing what modern economy has done. And we have 1% of the richest and 99% which are not so rich. The same with AI. It is a force multiplier and leverage for the best 5% of our students. For the not so better part of our students, it doesn't really change the things. But what AI really does is that it can take the top 25% from 50 to 80, let's say, and start moving them downwards because it makes them complacent. These above the average engineers in previous times would have been highly successful, well-adapted professionals. But now, by becoming more complacent, becoming more reliant into ready set answers, they're lagging behind. So we need inquisitive minds. We need minds that are resilient to change, solid background, okay, and above all, to reach a level that are able to communicate the ideas, because things are becoming complex. You need to discuss, you need to convince people, you need to communicate ideas, and at the end of the day, also teach your ideas to your younger colleagues.
Thank you very much, Professor. And I would like to close this session and generally the panel, so we can give the opportunity. I think we've got 5 minutes. We can give opportunity for a couple of questions from the audience. One last question to Dimitris to close with the industry. What are actually, the skills and the mindset that a shipping company is looking for now, both on board and ashore? If you could just sum up bullet points kind of thing.
Back to your question, how can we make shipping attractive? And that is very important for everyone. What we have tried to do, as shipping industry, is to let's say, make the young generation aware of what the Greek shipping has achieved, what are the opportunities out there, both for jobs ashore and jobs on board the ships. And there are a lot of initiatives going on now. For example, Adopt the Ship, where schools adopt a ship and they communicate regularly with the vessel. We have similar things with the maritime academies. A lot of them are visiting us. We are visiting them as well. In our group, we take almost one-third of the Greek cadets. We have something like 30 students internships every summer in the office. So there are a lot of things going on. But what I think is missing is a more of a structured approach, how all these elements can be put together. Maybe we are missing a kind of policy at a higher level or something like that. I think this is missing. Right? But apart from that, shipping companies in Greece, they will do their part and they will try to provide seafarers with all the training required and to address all the challenges that are coming, either cybersecurity, AI, or whatever. And again, I'm very positive that shipping in Greece can very well react to all these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitris. I would just like to add to that, as an outsider entering shipping without a shipping background myself, I entered the industry with all the stereotypes that exist for shipping as a young person brought up in Greece. But being in there, you do discover a completely different world, where sky is the limit, huge opportunities like no other industry. And, I always realize it's a shame how that doesn't go out society. And that has got to do with how, για να κάνουμε και αυτοκριτική, shipping has portrayed itself and how much it thought it was important to portray itself to the wider society, or it acted more like a closed community. But I think this is something that is changing with the new generation of owners and new people coming into the industry. There's much more externality about shipping, and I think that is actually affecting, as you said, what reaches the schools, whether primary or secondary level. There are many worthwhile initiatives, but actually, there is something missing there in terms of coordination, because there's so much going on, but from different stakeholders at different levels. There is some need of coordination, so the right information reaches the right audience at the right age, and I think that is what's missing. I agree. We have done a good job. I must say that we finished well the panel because we also were missing one speaker. Mr. George Kevis, Managing Director of Kleos, was not able last moment to join us for a personal issue. But that, I think, Mr. Chairperson, allows for 5 minutes to give the audience for a couple of questions.
I have one question regarding the manning. Do you consider that the present manning, especially with respect to cybersecurity and all this digital transformation and digital blah, 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 is enough today? Or an IT officer or a digital officer or something of the sort is really required, especially in view of the very wrong decision that was taken 30, 40 years ago to eliminate the radio officer, who could have been, let's say, evolved into becoming the IT officer. Or I think this person is desperately needed on the ship now.
Sorry, thank you for that. We had a very similar discussion with Mr. Yankithos just before starting the panel of how the crew may evolve and what kind of IT capabilities, or if there will be an IT personnel required on board on vessels. As I'm relatively new to shipping industry, bringing expertise or experience from outside other industries. What I have seen is that as we evolve, the capabilities, the skills that are required on board on vessel are changing, and of course more IT skills or digital literacy skills will be required. Maybe in the next few years, the electrical engineer that we have on board will evolve, or somebody similar will be there to bridge the gap, as you mentioned, because the systems will become so much sophisticated, and the actions will be required to be taken probably from the crew or somebody from the crew. I don't know if it will be 23 or 25 people there in the next couple of years, or if this will go up or down, how it's evolved. Definitely there is a gap there that needs to be addressed no matter what you do remotely. When you need to roll out technologies fast and troubleshoot also on this complex technology, you need to have somebody there that can do the actual work, right? And be to know what they will be doing, right? Not only getting direction from shore.
Thank you very much. And one more thing that I would like to say is to promote this MSc that NTUA is doing for performance engineering. I think this is an example of things to be done in general that cultivate and promote knowledge that has been acquired at, let's say, university or even later stages to prepare focused people that shipping companies definitely desperately need.
Thank you very much. So could we ask the audience take 2 questions? I think we've got time for 2 questions. The gentleman first up there, to the left, yep.
Hello. 2 short questions. based on the examples discussed today, are the maritime academies preparing crews to handle today's green technology and digital technologies on board, or there is a serious gap between training and a real operation? And the second question, do crews today accept those technology as a positive change or as a headache? Thank you.
Are they addressed to a certain panelist or generally? Okay, I think the first one for the Maritime Marine Academy is Mr. Yakinthos. You're the most appropriate.
Well, the academies, they have a curriculum. We follow the curriculum. We try to give extra points, but this is done on a basis in each academy what have found that it is most important. I believe that we have some solutions for them, for the students, but sure, it must. We must see the vocabulary, the lectures that we give, and to follow the new situations every time. This is not something that can be done very easily because it needs to pass through Ministry of Merchant Marine, as you understand. If the university, for example, can decide by itself this point, we don't have this permission. Thank you.
Thank you. And the second one, which is more industry-related, Dimitris, would you like to take that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, a very good question. I think we covered the first part of it. If there is a gap, there is, has always been, and will always be, with new technologies and changes in equipment, etc. Now, how is, and if this is accepted by seafarers on board the ships? I can say yes, but not for all, because some people are not that resilient. They don't accept changes. They prefer to stay with old technologies, which is fully acceptable. There's room for everyone out there. But what we encourage our new officers is that if they want to be there for the future, they have to be able to learn. As we said, learning is a process, it's a lifetime, it's an ongoing process. So if they accept that, they will be able to serve future vessels as well. Not all of them, but I hope the majority of them follow that way of thinking. Yeah. Thank you.
And depends also on the change itself, on what you try to introduce. For example, Starlink, nobody was against Starlink to be introduced on board, for example.
Free Wi-Fi.
Thank you. I think we can take one more question. I'll go first for the gentleman here who was first, please.
Well, it's not a technical question, but maybe the last three can answer one of them. We are very lucky in our company to have a very big auditorium, fully equipped. Every 2 months we do a crew forum, and they come for 2 days, training and also new regulations, etc. And one of them, a few weeks ago, I was approached by one of our older captains. I knew him since he was a second officer, and brought with him a second officer. And he said to me, Mr. Maounis, I got a question for you from this guy here. And he asked me, would he be useful when he's going to be a captain after 10 years, or it's going to be autonomous shipping? Now, I know what I answered him, but I would like to hear also your.
My personally or one of the panelists? Yeah, I think it's best to ask the panelists who would like to take that question.
Let me start.
Yeah.
Let me start, okay. It depends in which part of the continent you are. If you want an answer from the north part of Europe, you'll hear that everything is going to change in about 5 to 10 years. If you are in our part, you will hear that you will never find the autonomous ship. So the technology is here. If it's going to be adopted, I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know whether Professor Dimopoulos would like to.
May I say something? Okay, I think that autonomy is a very hard subject. I don't believe that it will happen anytime soon for ocean-going vessels, meaning having vessels without anybody on board. On the other hand, having remote monitoring and main functions, what we consider now main functions, be monitored and either operated from ashore, this I can see it in the future, but a skeleton crew will be on board. And then it begs the question, how skeleton such a crew should be. If they are to make any repair work or have a meaningful intervention, they cannot be 2 or 3. So, but the tendency to have remotely monitored or operated subsystems, I think that this will happen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we've got one more question. Go ahead, please. 2 more questions. 2 more questions. This is the interesting part, I think, so Mr. Hadjigrigoriou, please.
So we heard a lot of nice things about, basically about the future of Greek shipping, but what we should not forget is that at this moment, about 10% of the Greek fleet is managed by third-party managers, and the third-party managers have never seen it. They're around. They have their own policies. They say this is it. They should take it or leave it. But it's not a question. So, for Mr. Dimopoulos, Professor Dimopoulos, I don't think that the industry knows what kind of research we are doing with regard to technical university. Correct. It's not only about funding. Funding is another issue. But to have to publish a document every year, at the beginning of the year, telling people this is what we do. Can you help? Are you interested? I think it will be possible.
This is a challenge, and by all means, we don't do everything right. In fact, we are learning from our mistakes. We need to be more extrovert. There are people that believe in that we are doing things. Whether it would be successful and more, let's say, outreaching than we are, it remains to be seen. At least we try.
Last one about autonomous shipping. I think what I heard, the definition of autonomous shipping is to have one dog on board and then a man to feed the dog.
The best definition of autonomous shipping I've heard is 1 dog on board and the man feed the dog. We're going to have to close. I'm sure I'm getting a signal by the organizers, but we can continue after for any other questions. I would like to thank our panelists very much for their time and their sharing their knowledge. And Mr. Chairperson, you can close the session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Triantafylou and panelists. This concludes session 3, and Mr. Gadzikis and panelists for session 4, please come up and take your seats. Thank you very much.